Good evening, good evening, y'all. I hope you're having a great day and I hope your evening is going good as well. Um, Tonight, this is going to be a live, but I decided to go ahead and make it an upload. Um, and I'm just going to get into it. Our kids are becoming extinct. Chicago children are being killed by guns at a far faster rate than the years past. 52 children under age 15 have been shot and 10 killed so far this year. Children in Chicago are dying from gun violence at a rate 3 times higher than last year. 10 children aged 15 or younger have been shot dead so far this year, up from the 3 children fatally shot during the same time period in 2020. And that's more than the number killed in all of 2019. Out of nearly 1,500 shooting victims so far this year, at least 52 victims were 15 or younger, compared to 43 last year, an increase of 21%. The increase in child shooting victims tracks closely with the overall spike in Chicago shootings, adults included, of 20.3%. When looking at the total number of shootings, the rate of children shot, however, is similar to that of last year. So far this year, 3.4% of all shooting victims were 15 years old or younger, the same percentage of child victims in 2020. I don't understand how we are not, as a city, absolutely outraged, said the Reverend Michael Flager, a longtime crusader against gun violence who leads St. Sabina Church in Auburn Grissom. Our children are becoming extinct. The trend continued over the violent weekend when 2 teens who were recently shot in the head succumbed to their wounds. Savannah Quintanera, 14, was gunned down last Wednesday in Back of the Yards, which is a neighborhood of Chicago. They call it Back of the Yards, after her attacker asked her if she was in a gang. Robert Barr, 15, was struck during a May 26 shooting in Inglewood that also wounded 2 other teens and a 22-year-old man. Both of them died Saturday. Since they were pronounced, a 15-year-old boy was shot Sunday in Riverdale. An 11-year-old girl was wounded less than 3 hours later in West Pullman. They are among the nearly 60 people shot in Chicago over the weekend. Brandon Denallen, the Chicago Police Department's chief of detectives, said Monday the girl was visiting from out of town. She was sitting in a car when another car drove by. Gunshots were fired and she was struck. The girl was hit in the back and seriously wounded, though Denallen, and I may be saying his name wrong, said her condition had stabilized. He noted that detectives were seeking witnesses and videos of the shooting. He also told reporters that investigators have some good video related to Savannah's slaying and may release images soon. However, her shooting, I think, was 2 weekends ago, and I have not seen the images yet. So I don't know if WGN or the news in Chicago has dropped that footage. Even though I've been looking, I have not found any footage of her shooting yet. Um, but he acknowledged that no arrests have been made in the recent homicide or the 11-year-old shooting. She's scared somebody's gonna run up and shoot her. Earlier this year, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you have heard of it. If you have not, you need to look it up. The fatal shooting of young Jasmine Adams garnered national media attention and led to a pair of arrests as well. Now, I don't think that it led to national media. Um, the only way that I get Chicago news is if something happens and it's on HLN or if it comes on CNN. It We rarely get Chicago media here in the Quad Cities. Okay, it's very rare. Um, Jaslyn is the young girl that you guys see on my thumbnail. This is Jaslyn, a smiley and energetic 7-year-old named Pinky. Was sitting in her father's car on April 18th at a McDonald's drive-thru in Holman Square when two gunmen out of an Audi, I'm sorry, when two men got out of an Audi and opened fire. Jasmine was shot 6 times and was later pronounced dead at Stroger Hospital. Her father, Jonte Adams, was wounded in the attack but lived. Now, a lot of you guys are probably wondering why this baby was caught in this crossfire, why they were going after her father. Jonte Adams is part of the gang. I'm not 100% sure which gang he is affiliated with. I don't know if he's a GD or a BD. Um, but there's a video that went viral over social media of him going to the cemetery and urinating on what you people like to use the word op, final resting place, his grave. So he went and videotaped him pissing on his op's grave, further disrespecting the man that was dead. You can't do anything more to him, but you took the time to go live and make a video of you pissing on his grave. And because of that ignorant act, your daughter, 7-year-old Jasmine, Pinky, is gone. There is video of her shooting. Um, if you guys wish to find that, you can look for it. I'm pretty sure you can find it on YouTube because I did. Um, Chelsea's parental grandmother LaWanda McCullen said Monday her family is still grieving her granddaughter's untimely death. McCullen said another 8-year-old granddaughter will no longer play outside because she's scared someone's going to run up and shoot her. All they can do is sit in their house and play on their phones because they can't go outside and play. It's just sad they're shooting our babies at parties, friends' birthday parties, amusement parks. Just last week, a co-worker told McCullen that her nephew was shot with his 7-year-old son in the car in Calumet Heights. Something needs to be done. What can be done? I don't know. I'm speechless right now because it's just horrible. Even the young victims that survived are traumatized, says Tal Hasky-Lowy, an executive director of Friends of the Children Chicago. Her group, which provides mentors to students in kindergarten through high school in Austin and North Lawndale, said a second grader in her program recently narrowly escaped shots fired at her home. Can you guys believe that? A second grader. These kids have witnessed more violence in their short years than most of us have seen, even in violent movies. These are terrifying times, and there's no words that will make somebody feel better. What's going to make someone feel better is investing in programs and services that can truly make a difference. This isn't a shock. Tamar Massey, head of Mothers and Men Against Senseless Killings, was saddened but not surprised by the jump in child fatalities so far this year. This isn't a shock. Nothing the cluster of calls her longtime anti-violence group receives from reporters every year following annual violence over Memorial Day weekend. At this point, it almost seems like something that's supposed to happen. This year has the added stress of cities reopening and people moving freely after months of lockdown. On top of that, she warned there are too many guns on the street that end up in the wrong hands. People are still poor, and until you find a way to bring more education and job opportunities to these neighborhoods, this is what you're going to get every year. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. Um, Flager said government officials should tackle the issue the same way they handled the COVID-19 pandemic, with massive spending and all hands on deck approach. After being cleared to return to St. Savini following an investigation into sex abuse allegations, Flager has spoken out strongly against the rash of shootings that have wounded children, which he called unacceptable. Starting this Friday, he plans to again start leading walks to problem areas in an effort to quell tension and offer support. It's hard to heal when you're in the middle of a war. Every day is a war zone. Being born and raised in the city of Chicago, I was born in 1972. And life for me in my Chatham neighborhood, where I grew up on 80th and Langley, it was nothing like it is now. Children were able to walk, play, run around, do what kids do. We weren't worried about someone coming out and shooting up the block. At that time, in that area on 80th and Langley near the Chatham neighborhood, it was a peaceful neighborhood. You still had grandma and grandpa walking around. You still had parents sitting on the porches and watching their kids. That neighborhood is nothing but apartment buildings my grandparents owned their two-story flat. And there were a lot of old people, elderly people, back in the day of grandma and pop pop. You know, the ones that will whoop your ass and make sure your parents know you on some bullshit. You know, that was the neighborhood back at that time that please believe you were home when the street lights came on. I saw the change in Chicago like we all do that lived there. We knew that the tensions was rising. We knew that things were changing. We also noticed when they started to tear down the Robert Taylor homes and they started tearing down all the projects. It was kind of like the gangs and the gun violence was out of sight, out of mind because it was so secluded in areas that I didn't frequent, my family didn't frequent. There was times when you would be able to get on the red line, which is the train, our L station in Chicago, and just ride. And the only thing that you had to worry about really was someone wanting to sing or dance, and maybe snatch a purse or a chain here and there. But there was never a time when I thought that I would get on the train and I would be in the middle of a gunfight, or I would see people fighting or doing the things that our children, the children of Chicago, witness every day. I don't know what can be done to save our children. I know that I was lucky enough to be able to. I'm sorry, y'all, they're firing stupid firecrackers. I hate 4th of July. But I was able to get my kids out of the city. Have my children been sheltered? Absolutely. But they've been sheltered from not being able from seeing violence every day. You know, not wanting to go to school. They are fully aware of the dangers of not just the city of Chicago, but everywhere. But my kids were lucky. Jasmine was not lucky. The children that have been gunned down this year alone are not lucky. I know that some of you guys don't care about this stuff. I know that some of this is boring to you. This is not drama. This is not talking down to someone. This is not degrading someone. This is not shooting